Continued economic growth is the first of 5 fleet trends that industry expert Arnie Braun is seeing for 2024.
Top five fleet trends that we're tracking right now, looking at continued economic growth. And so, we're seeing and expecting that the U.S. economy will continue to grow here in 2024. We see some relaxation on inflation as well. And so with those two, what we're seeing some growth in the commercial business spaces, which is great news for all of us that are supporting this industry. The other thing that we're looking at there is the availability of vehicles. So, some of the allocations are starting to relax and folks are able to, go after their growth plans as they see them and, go out there and put new vehicles instead of just kind of holding on and protecting kind of the fleet sizes that they have. We're seeing some growth in many of the fleets out there. Second, that we're looking at on some of the trends there are commercial miles continue to grow. And what we're seeing is that about 80 to 85% of the supply chain out there that's running through the U.S. hits a truck at some point in time. So large amount of movement on trucks, which we support, every day of the year. Year over year, we're seeing a faster rate of growth on commercial vehicles than we are on personal vehicles. And we expect that will continue, to show as we go through the next several years here and much more so as we get into future years. It's something that we've strategically made a lot of investments on and have put a lot of our plans around to support that path of growth on the commercial side. And, we know that commercial fleets need a different level of support than what personal vehicles do. I may be willing to go schedule my vehicle on the weekends or at night during off times. Commercial vehicles, they may not have that off time. They may want to run them, 2 or 3 shifts and share the vehicles. And so they require a different level of support as we see that. And then we see that there's labor challenges around that as well. As we start to use these commercial vehicles in more than one shift, we still have regulated drivers that have hours of service limitations. And so we're seeing a lot of drivers kind of exit the market, and then mechanics or, technicians that can service the vehicles, we're seeing some shortages in those spaces as well. But commercial miles definitely on the rise. Electrification, I'd say the third one there. It's hitting its stride. We're seeing the numbers continue to grow in terms of adoption in electric vehicles, more so on the light side than the heavy and medium duty side. On the heavy and medium duty side, we see adoption being a little bit slower. A lot of that is in a few things: work duty cycles, availability of chassis, OEMs still deciding how they want to go to market. Is it EV? Is it hydrogen? Is it hybrid? There's still a lot of things around those. But regulation is starting to drive a lot of adoption in that space as well. We've seen what California has done. We've seen other states, make pitches or are coming with pitches to do similar things in those areas. And so, we want to make sure that we're ready. The industry is ready to support all of these new, drivetrain, alternative fuel type chassis out there and be able to support them in the best method possible. I think it's important to have a very wide, broad network of providers who are focused on what the future holds, in that space. Fourth, technology. We're kind of labeling it technology goes beyond the hype, right? So we've heard a lot of hype around things, and we've seen, the great things that telematics can do. And now we're seeing things like preventative maintenance, and we're talking about, all the different data that we can go out there and AI and, the various technologies that are going to come into place. And, we think that that's going to grow here in 2024 and moving into 2025. AI will start to become a greater driver of insights in that space. And then, that's going to bode very well for folks who are looking to, really kind of manage their fleets at a very, strong level. Managed care is a product that we offer around that space, where we have data and insights to help drive down costs. And, other folks will be able to do the same things, in their fleets, drive down their cost, have, fewer breakdowns and really lean into that data. But there's still a learning curve to it, right? Everything is not going to be perfect on day one in terms of the data insights that we get. There's still a lot of things that have to take place in terms of DTC codes and some of the predictive maintenance. We think we can look at it and help on breakdowns, but still a ways to go. And then kind of the last one, I think we've seen this based on how the OEMs are bringing vehicles to market. E-commerce is going to impact the fleet demand, and we still see that. So 24/7, 365 support is critical for folks like that, critical for a lot of the businesses out there. We see about 60% of roadside events happen during the day, with about 40% being after hours. And it's critical to make sure that folks are getting their packages. Largest, growing area right now is that e-commerce space. And we think that'll continue to drive the growth in the commercial space.